Hello, Guardians. Today is Friday, October 13th, 2023. My name's Danfinity, and welcome to Destiny Digest. First things first, welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for sticking with the show. Thanks for keeping us in your feed while I was gone for an extended period of time. It was originally going to be 2 weeks of me gallivanting around Europe, and then and it was great. That was a really fun time. We got to hang out with some of Jenny's family. I won't spoil all the details on you guys, but it was a really good trip. I feel really refreshed and have a few new perspectives coming into content creation as well as Destiny and community because of our travels. The last week, actually, my voice was really shot, so I couldn't do another episode out the gate, and I was soul crushed because I really wanted to get back to it, but my body said, "Hey Dan, rest one more week." So thank you guys so much for your patience. To get to housekeeping, if you want to help the show in the algorithms across all the different platforms, remember to rate and review on your podcast platform of choice. Anything you say helps us in the algorithm. And if you want to give a couple bucks a month to help keep the lights on over here, head on over to coffee.com/Danfinity. That is ko-fi.com/Danfinity. Couple bucks a month, nothing big. Your listenership is appreciated tremendously. So thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I've been gone for a few weeks, but I've been trying to keep up on everything in the background. First and foremost, the crafting, you rascals. What were you doing, you rascals? You guys out here crafting all sorts of weapons with all sorts of things that weren't supposed to happen? And you just thought you could get away with it without an emblem being in the works? That was confirmed by Joe Groth earlier today in the Destiny 2 teams stream that he did on Twitch. Yeah, that seemed crazy. I won't be getting that emblem because I wasn't around. But that seemed like a really cool thing for the community, especially when Bungie was like, hey, go have fun with this thing. Something that was disheartening was seeing so many people kind of bash each other over a bug and pixels in a video game. That seemed kind of silly. And maybe shouldn't have gone as far as it has in the past. I really truly think that when we get into the back half of season, even a season as good as Season of the Witch, what with its awesome story and what with its kind of incredible activities that are replayable that people seem to connect with and want to grind out, we really can't keep from tearing each other limb from limb if we don't agree with one another. I feel like that's something that needs to stop for the health of each other and for the health of the game. I also saw the Latinette Bungie post that was weird and awkward, and it's weird that I don't think that they've said anything about it since they posted that. Initially, I also saw the article of somebody from HR bringing a case of possible racial prejudice in the job at Bungie, bringing that up and having the head of HR kind of hound them out of the thing. That's not such a bright spot. I think it's important to remember that Bungie is a company, and company is made up of people. And sometimes people are wrong. I really love Bungie for the games that they make. They seem to treat people well for the most part, but it is disheartening to hear these types of stories come out about a company whose games you enjoy. It's tough to do, and really hopeful for a positive outcome for the workers in those scenarios. Over the past couple weeks, like I said, I've been catching up. I really enjoyed the Season of the Witch wrap-up story especially the ending cutscene with Eris Morn and Savathun. I know there was a lot of criticism about the postscript to that scene being in the lore books. I think that that's a fair criticism. However, I also think that with the seasonal model, that cutscene could have been so long, and probably they just don't have the budgets to make long entries into those cutscenes. I'm wondering if the transition from seasons into chapters will give us a little bit more meat on the bone when it comes to cutscenes and showing lore in the cutscenes. I'm hopeful for it, but really just kind of, I'm not holding my breath about it, I guess. I want to see what the chapter structure is before getting my hopes up, and possibly your hopes up if you're listening. I feel like a healthy dose of wait and see is advised here. But yeah, I enjoyed the cutscenes from Season of the Witch. I enjoyed the 2 levels of Imbaru that I've taken on. I know the third and final level, appeared this week, and I've yet to complete that. Something that I'm finding on my way back in, as a player, I feel like I'm slowly becoming somebody who goes in, gets my stuff done, and then logs off for the week. I don't know if that's something where there's just so many other games that have come out that I want to play, or that I am playing. Like, I've been playing Sea of Stars in my off time, and Thursdays I've been playing Baldur's Gate on stream and really enjoying that. But I'm finding that I'm playing fewer hours of Destiny when I'm in my leisure time, which is something that has happened periodically. I'm sure you guys can relate with this as well. But it's something that has happened with me periodically, especially as a content creator, when for so long you play just one game in the directory. A little bit of variety here and there really shakes the bones. And but it feels like I'm hitting that mark sooner and sooner in seasons, regardless of the quality of the storytelling and the activity. I think I've decided that I'm not going to go for rank 11 this season. I am going to wrap up Conqueror. I'm 3 GMs away from wrapping up that title completely. But a lot of the weapons that I have, I think we touched on this a little bit with the Ren Vixen conversation. I'm just not finding a need to replace things in my toolkit, and that is probably a veteran problem, because you get so many different versions of so many different weapons that not every weapon is going to bump something out. And so I'm finding that I'm actually deleting things in order to excite my loot grind a little bit. I went through my vault and pretty much decimated it. If I could craft it, I got rid of it. If I didn't use a certain type of weapon, staccato, I really wanted to like you, but I'm sorry, it's not working out. I got rid of it. And so I got down to I think 285 items in my vault, and just and felt okay with it. Felt fine with it. Because I can craft just about anything that I want. You also can, probably, if you're listening to this. You're probably like a power user in Destiny, and yeah, I'm finding the chase kind of shallower and shallower. I think part of me wonders if the artificial pinnacle grind kept me in longer and kept me engaged because number go up and then dopamine go up. But right now it's a little bit of a struggle. Not a terrible proposition though. I still enjoy my time in Destiny. I've been trying to knock out the red borders for Crota's End since I've returned. Festival of the Lost looks promising next week. Festival of the Lost will return on the 17th of October. We will still be doing the Haunted Lost sectors during the activity. However, they are introducing Legend Haunted sectors, which doesn't that sound spooky? With Legend Haunted Lost sectors, they will be introducing the Eerie Engram system that will have 2 users. Players can crack them open individually for some treats, or you can use them as currencies for hocus pocusing, which is just really good punning right there, which you can use to focus for weapons from an Eerie Engram, so Festival of Lost weapons for a higher candy cost, or you can focus into exotic arms, legs, helmet, and chest specifically. I really like that you can target your loot chase if you decide to grind out the Festival of Lost activity. I hope that they aren't too tough to come by. And the idea of turning in, and the idea of focusing up the past Festival of Lost weapons, I'm still missing a Macabre sniper rifle. I just loved how that thing sounded last year. I'm really looking forward to diving in and knocking out some of those activities so I can get those weapons back, because I've cleaned my vault since then. Bungie goes on to say that players must own the expansion that the exotic armor is tied to in order for it to be eligible to drop from Hocus Pocusing. Players will not need to have acquired the exotic armor previously for it to be eligible to drop from Hocus Pocusing, which I think that's great. I know normally it's on a knockout, but kind of eradicating that knockout just to allow you to target the thing that you want is great for player experience. And players will only receive exotic armor for the class that they are currently playing while interacting with Hocus Pocusing. Bungie also gave us a quick little sneak peek at one of the PvP mementos that will be coming with Festival of Lost. This specific memento turns your entire weapon into like a leather interior, which is comforting to some. It's sticky on hot days though, so just be careful. With this week's TWAB, we got a PvP Stripe Team update. In it, they cover Checkmate, a game mode that I haven't really played all that much of. I need to hop into it probably this week. Matchmaking changes, spawning changes, and their hopes for next season. When it comes to Checkmate, they say, we've heard that you like Checkmate. We want to make sure that we get the tuning just right before it makes its way out of Crucible Labs. That's from the TWAB. But Joe Garoth also confirmed that during the play along, is it a ride along? I think it was more of a play along that he did earlier today on Twitch. He said that Checkmate was performing very well and that they'll want to further tune the game mode while also using what they learned from Checkmate to tune normal PvP while not ruining the current PvP sandbox. Some of the changes that will be coming to Checkmate include adaptive hand cannons will once again 3-tap at any resilience. Rapid fire pulse rifles will 3 burst at 6 resilience. High impact pulse rifles will 2 burst at 4 resilience with all crit hits. And the frequency of heavy spawn will be reduced. When it comes to matchmaking, they will be compressing the skill bands in the control playlist. That means that there's going to be bigger skill gap pools in that activity. I'm looking forward to seeing what this does, not only to the community discourse, but also to the playing experience. My main PvP experience this season has been Iron Banner, and it hasn't been my favorite. I've literally been dipping my toe in, being like, oh, that's not for me, and then zipping out with the few Iron Banner Engrams that I've gotten. Spawn changes. They say it is known that there are some long outstanding issues with spawns, such as spawn trapping, spawn flipping, and not spawning at all. We've made a few changes in recent seasons, reverted some, went back to the drawing board, and here we are again, ready to take another stab at it. Iterations. It's a common theme. Previously, we made more systematic changes and less targeted changes. This time, we're doing the opposite, less systemic and more targeted. Bungie's specifically looking to address issues on Altar of Flame and Cauldron. I really like the candor of the PvP Strike Team in this. If we're getting constant updates like this, I think that that's very promising for the team, and I'm hopeful that they will be successful in kind of wrangling PvP into something that both folks who dedicate hours and hours and years of their lives to playing, for them to have an enjoyable experience, as well as like somebody just kind of like walking in off the street and saying, hey, what's this? I'm very hopeful that that can happen. I feel like there can be a happy medium in there somewhere. Next season, they say that in season 23, Crucible playlist reorganizations will be including a 3v3 rotator node. Competitive Crucible changes that will be including competitive weapon focusing, rank adjustment updates in 3v3 countdown rush, flawed card rewards for trials, and more checkmate modes. That's pretty much it for the 12 this week. Right now, I'm going to go a little bit into more information from Joe's stream earlier today. I'm using Reddit user Colonial Dagger's mega summary to bring this information to you, because otherwise I would have had to watch like a 4-hour video in order to get all this information. So Colonial Dagger, thank you so much. If you want to read the full article instead of just the greatest hits, what I'm going to give you here, you can see that in the show notes for the episode. PvE for master raids and dungeons. They're looking into rollouts of master content and player elected difficulty. This is something that a lot of people have been asking for, especially when we have so many raids now that are in the rotator that it pushes things out 8 or 9 weeks. People are wanting to get that loot more readily available. I think that this would be a huge change for the game in allowing players to play their way. It seems we're getting another version of the roguelike system next season. When asked about how Crota's End fared, Joe said that contests went really well, looking to keep the good aspects and remove the bad aspects for the final shape. For subclass balancing, he talked about enjoying the identity for the Banner of War on Titan. For Weave Walk, they know about 2 fragment slot discussion and the potential to be incredibly oppressive. For Stasis, all you Stasis heads out there, they said they're focusing on tuning before introducing fragments and not expecting new aspects in the near future. We know a little bit about a new buff UI update. The UI team over at Bungie is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see what they bring. But Joe said that it's still a work in progress, and they can't announce any info yet, but armor buffs and encounter buffs will be on different sides of the screen, and the entire UI experience will be extremely disorienting the first time, and players will need a bit of time to adjust. I'm looking forward to seeing what they build out there. I feel like they do a pretty good job with the design of their UI updates. The list on the left-hand side of the screen, it feels like a holdover from Destiny 1, and I'm hopeful that they can pack more information into that space without it looking too clunky. For more information, including why Joe's mustache went missing from his upper lip, be sure to check the link in the show notes. That about does it for me this week, gang. Short and sweet, bringing back interviews over the next couple of weeks. Once again, thank you so much for your patience with me. My name's Danfinity. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram and the TikTok at DanfinityGG. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, 2 days playing Destiny, and 1 currently I'm playing through Baldur's Gate 3. Thanks, Larian Studios, for giving me a code. If you want to join a helpful community in Destiny 2 and in gaming in general, head on over to discord.gg/Danfinity. Play some games, make some new friends there. And once again, if you'd like to support the show, remember to rate and review on your podcast platform of choice. Anything you say helps us in the algorithm. Thank you so much for listening. I'm glad to be back, and I hope you find what you're grinding for.